Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Phil Schiller, and I'm really pleased to welcome you here to our event in New York. This is really special for everyone at Apple because today's event, it's about education. And education is deep in our DNA, and it has been from the very beginning. Our entire education business is based on a unique understanding of teaching, learning, and student achievement. We try to bring the same passion and energy that we put into every product we make and every innovative new technology into our education business as well. And we're so proud to take part in anything we can do to help students learn and achieve great things. Well, there's something really profound starting to happen. It's remarkable. We're seeing that as students are starting to be introduced to iPad in learning, some really remarkable things are happening. And we're on the cusp of something really great. Whether they're in high school and they're using the iPad to study up for a biology or chemistry test, or maybe they're a K-6 student with special needs, and they're just trying to communicate with the world. We hear countless stories from parents and teachers about how with iPad they're able to communicate with and even teach special needs children. And it's really heartwarming. So we're starting to see a lot of really great successes. But there are challenges in education, both old and new. And they're pretty profound. The truth is, if you're a high school student in the US, it's not so easy. Not only the social pressures, but the statistics are that if you enter as a freshman 4 years from now, you have about a 70% chance of graduating in 4 years. In hard-hit urban areas, that's as low as 60%. It's really tough, and those numbers are not great. And if you are one of the ones that are lucky enough to work hard and graduate, you may not be the best prepared to compete in a global economic environment. In the core curriculum of reading, math, and science, we see that the US is not at the top of the industrialized nations. We've stayed kind of flat, and the rest of the world has moved ahead. The US ranks 17th in reading, 31st in math, 23rd in science. Not great results. We all want to do better than this. Now, we're constantly speaking with our partners in education, teachers, administrators, but what their challenges are and how we might be able to help them. So before we get into things we're doing, I think it's best to hear from them directly first. So what we'd like to do is we put a very brief video together so that you can hear some of our recent conversations with teachers and administrators about the challenges they face. Let's run that.
In general, I have to say, education is in the dark ages. No fundamental changes have occurred in 150 years.
It's very difficult to be a teacher, and it's very difficult to be a student when resources are not available, when class sizes are 40 plus, when buildings are in disrepair.
I see many students who have trouble or difficulty with simply reading and writing and arithmetic, and they're at the high school level.
There's a one-size-fits-all mentality about how kids learn or what kids need. And I know just between my first and second period, those kids need radically different things.
Sometimes we just are so tied into standardized testing, so tied into the curriculum, that we lose sight of the things that really excite the kids.
There's been studies that have been done with classroom walkthroughs of schools all across our country, and there's very low levels of engagement. And kids are just bored.
You can't expect them to go from a world where they've got constant access to a laptop at home or a smartphone in their pocket or a computer on their desk and come into school and have all of that disappear.
Unfortunately, most classrooms don't have all the technology or even textbooks that they need to succeed.
I get very disappointed or discouraged when students fall through the cracks and don't graduate, knowing that we failed them or that our system has failed them.
We just need a reset. We need to find out what's wrong and find a way to fix it.
These teachers are amazing people, and they deserve all of our help, all our energy and effort to try to make their jobs easier. Now, there is a lot that's talked about that might be wrong in education. And no one person or company can fix it all. But we try to figure out what at Apple we can do our part to contribute to improving the situation. One thing we hear louder than all else that can really make a difference and where we can help is in that of student engagement, really inspiring kids to want to discover and want to learn. And that's why we get excited when we see the reaction to students when they get their hands on an iPad and it gets integrated into the curriculum in a way that they can truly use it in the learning process. Well, it's not a big surprise that they get excited to learn on an iPad. You probably have seen the statistics. The iPad was #1 on teens' wish list this holiday period. And they love the iPad because it's so thin and light, it's really powerful, you can turn it on quickly and then use it all day long. It's affordable, not only for families, but for schools. And most of all, it's fun and engaging to use. I don't mean just for playing games or doing social networking. Of course, it's great at those things. But you may not know that there are now over 20,000 education and learning applications built specifically for the iPad. Amazing applications like the elements, frog dissection, virtual Rome, art authority, cell and cell structure, Wolfram physics in the solar system, tens of thousands of applications. And on top of that, our iBooks store is packed with hundreds of thousands of books, many of which are perfect for use in an English curriculum or social studies. So it's no surprise that teachers are finding that they are excited too about teaching their children if they can integrate the iPad into the curriculum. And you may be surprised to learn that there are now over 1.5 million iPads in use in education institutions, and over 1,000 in one-to-one programs. So this really is starting to take off. But we want to help it to accelerate and make it even easier to integrate the iPad into the education curriculum. So today, we want to tell you about 2 initiatives we have to do exactly that. So first, reinventing the textbook. Books are incredible things. We love books. They were invented in the mid-1400s, the printed page, turning into the first printed bound books, and they did transform society. And they'll always be with us. But fast forward more than a few hundred years, and it's not hard to see that the textbook is not always the ideal learning tool. If you're a child who has to move from class to class with 3 or 4 or 5 of these, it's a bit cumbersome. And if you're a school district that's had your budget has been squeezed and you've had to make them last 5 or 6 years and hand them from child to child, they get dog-eared and written in and worn. They're just not the ideal modern teaching tool. Yet their content's amazing. So how does the book actually stack up? Let's go through a list of some of the features. First, portable. Well, sure, a book's portable until you had to carry 3 or 4 or 5 of them around, and kids will tell you they're not really that portable. They're not that durable if paper and binding has to last for years through many children. They're not interactive. They're not searchable. An author can't update the content once they've been handed out to the student. But the content is great. There are amazing learning companies that strive so hard to update the content and create great materials for students. They just can't get them out to everyone quickly enough. The iPad, on the other hand, is eminently portable. It's a lot more durable than paper and binding. Of course, it's interactive. And it has modern tools that kids are used to, like searching. And an author can keep the content current and up to date even after they've been deployed to the student. But can we get amazing content turned into a new generation of digital books? Can we get the kind of content we've seen in textbooks turned into something new and interactive and exciting and fun? Well, that's what we're here to tell you about today. So I am extremely proud to be the first to tell you about the brand new iBooks 2. And iBooks 2 brings a new textbook experience for the iPad. These are beautiful books, interactive, gorgeous, fun, engaging. Kids are going to really love to learn with textbooks and iBooks. Rather than describe them, what we'd like to do is show them to you live. So to do that, I'd like to invite up Roger Rosner, our Vice President for Productivity Software. Roger?
Thanks, Phil. Good morning. Well, I'm really excited to show you the new iBooks 2, so let's just dive in here. Imagine I'm a high school student, and I'm studying biology. So I tap on iBooks, and I see all the books I'm using for school on this great shelf, including my textbooks, and I'll just tap on my biology book.
This is a century in which we've got to solve the great problems and make the great discoveries concerning life on this planet. I'm going to ask you to enter the world of the biologist.
I don't think there's ever been a textbook started with such a great intro movie. I just swiped past it to get to the table of contents for this book. And here I can use all those familiar multi-touch gestures to navigate through this amazing book. I can swipe down below to see the thumbnails for the pages in this chapter. Or I can swipe up above to go to the next chapter. And when I actually want to get into the book, I just tap on a page thumbnail, and there it goes. And then, of course, I can swipe to get to the next page. And I think you can see immediately, these are gorgeous, gorgeous books. They're really in a class by themselves in terms of rich, engaging layouts. And they have some really cool, rich, engaging, interactive experiences. And this is one here. I'm going to pinch it up to full screen so you can see it better. And now when I tap, we zoom in and we see animated 3D models of the structures inside of a cell. Clearly, no printed textbook could compete with this in terms of communicating and really giving a kid a good understanding of what's going on inside of a cell. And when I'm done, I just pinch and I'm back on the page. Swipe to go to the next page. Here's another cool one. This has some great DNA animations. And I'll just jump forward to my favorite part of this. This is a comparison of the size of DNA structures to chromosomes. And I'll just tap, I zoom out, tap again to zoom back in. Again, nothing like that on the printed page. Authors have total freedom to make amazing interactive experiences. And here on the page, you also see we have a 3D model of a nucleosome. And I can just swipe to rotate it in 3D space. Let's look at some more. Here's a great interactive. As I swipe my finger across the bottom of it, we increase the density of the structures inside of the cell. It really gives a really good understanding of how crowded it is inside of a cell. As you can see, authors just have total freedom in terms of laying out text and graphics on pages, too. I really like this one. Let's pinch this one up. This is a great way to learn about insect biology. Down on the illustration here, if I tap on a structure, the corresponding structure is highlighted on the photographs of insects up above. It's great to explore. It makes a really good impression. It's really easy to understand what's going on. Very cool. Now, of course, sometimes when you're working with a textbook, you really just want to focus on reading the text. We have a perfect way to do that. I'll just rotate my iPad into portrait here. And we relay out the book with the text running down the middle. And I can still get to all my interactives. They're all on the left. And if I want to just tap on one, it takes over the screen. When I'm done, I just pinch back down. Super easy. If I want to get to the table of contents, I just pinch. And there you are, and I can navigate through the book. Let's jump back in. So really, our books have two complete different reading experiences, and I can just use whichever one suits me best. So I think you can already see these books are by far the coolest, most engaging digital textbooks that have ever been done. But it turns out we've just scratched the surface of the new iBooks 2. For instance, when I see a glossary term I don't understand, I can just tap on it, get the definition right there. If I want to jump to the whole book's glossary, or the book's whole glossary, I just tap on that button, Now we have all the glossary terms here. I can flip from term to term. We have movies and images for the terms. We also have index links back into the book. So if I want to learn more about a particular subject, I just tap, I go straight to the appropriate place in the book. That is so much better than a paper index, or a paper glossary, I should say, could ever hope to be. We also have searching. I'll tap to bring up our toolbar. Tap on the search button. Let's say I want to learn about biomes. So I'll just start typing. I get suggestions. Tap on biomes. Now I see a list of every place in the book the word biome occurs. And they're shown in the context in which they occur. So it's really easy for me to know what I want to jump to. It takes me straight there. And again, this is so much better than a paper index could ever hope to be. Now, you can also just jump to a specific page number. And our search field understands page numbers too. So if let's say the teacher says, everybody go to page 34. I just type 34 into our search. It suggests page 34. And there you go. Super fast, super fluid navigation, totally critical to making a great interactive textbook experience. Here on this page, we have a really cool interactive object. It looks like an image, but I can actually swipe through and see a gallery of images. When I pinch it up to the full screen, I have beautiful, immersive, full screen images. And I'm done. I just pinch back down. Pretty cool. Now, textbooks tend to have long lists of review questions, typically at the end of a chapter or a section. And they're pretty useful, but they're not that exciting. So we thought we could do something better and more useful. Let me jump to the review at the end of this chapter. I'm going to pinch to get to our table of contents. You can always pinch on a page to get to the table of contents. Here we have a list of topics for this chapter, and I'll just tap on the review topic, and it takes me right there. And we see our review. And the first question is, which one of the following is a savanna? And then there are 4 pictures of biomes down below, and I can just tap, check answer. Nope, not that one. Tap here, check answer. I get immediate feedback about what's right or wrong. And we have lots of really nice, interesting layouts and options for review questions. This is a really cool matching exercise. You can drag and drop. But the bottom line is immediate feedback. And it turns a static list of review questions into a really dynamic and really useful study tool. Speaking of study tools, another super critical study tool for students is highlighting and note-taking. We wanted to make it really easy. So basically, your finger is always ready as a highlighter. You can just swipe over something you're interested in. And when you're ready to, if you want to change the color, say, you just tap on it, change the color. If you want to add a note, tap on the notes icon. And I'll just type, this is on the test. Tap, and it appears in the left margin here, and I can just tap on it. Oops. Tap on it. Haha, excuse me, I missed it. And it should appear. There we go. It should appear on the page. Now, that's really useful. Great. There's no excuse not to be taking highlights and notes as you go through the book. But we thought we could make that even more useful. If I tap to bring up our toolbar, tap on the Notes View button. In this view, we collect together and show you all of your notes and highlights for the entire book in one place. Needless to say, this is great if you're studying for a test or writing a paper. It's really useful. But we did something even cooler with this. We have a Study Cards button here in the upper left, and I'll just tap on it. And now we automatically take all your notes and highlights, and we turn them into study cards. And I can just swipe through. If I see something I want to see what the note is, I just tap on it. I see what's on the back. And that's really great. But remember those glossary terms we looked at earlier? We also turn those into study cards. We put the terms on the front and the definitions on the back, and I can just tap on them, flip them over. No more ever having to make paper flashcards, right? These are all automatically created for you. And if I'm studying for a test, I can even just shuffle them in random order and go through them. I don't think there's ever been a textbook made it this easy to be a good student. All right, so how do I get these awesome textbooks? Well, we've made that really easy too. Let's jump back to our bookshelf here. In the top left, there's a button for the store, and I tap on it. It takes me to the iBooks store. And here, there's a categories button, and I tap on that, and I see the beautiful new iBook Store categories view. And we have a brand new textbook category. I'll just tap on that, tap on a book. And now you see all the familiar features of our iBook Store. You see a description, screenshots, which are actually new to the bookstore. We have customer ratings and reviews. You can download a free sample. And even better than that, right? Almost everybody in the world knows how to use our amazing one-click purchasing system. And that's exactly how you get the books. You can buy them right here, or you can redeem a code. In either case, they download straight to your iPad, and you own the book forever. You can even re-download it from the cloud if you ever need to. And that is a whirlwind tour of the new iBooks 2.
Thank you, Roger. Well, I hope you've seen how gorgeous these beautiful full-screen interactive books can be. You've seen how rich the experience can be made with interactive animations and photos and videos. You've seen how fluid the navigation can be. We really worked hard to make it fast and fluid. And the amazing tools available to students, highlighting, note-taking, searching for any text, tapping on definitions, lesson reviews and study cards. They truly are what everyone had hoped a textbook could become. So the iBooks 2 is an application that you download from our App Store to your iPad, and it's free. So there's no reason for everyone not to get the new iBooks 2. And the team has really worked hard to make them available today. So on the App Store, iBooks 2. So you've seen how amazing these books can be. What you haven't seen is what does it take to create these books? And that's just as important. So I'm really pleased to be the first to tell you about an entirely new application, and we call it iBooks Author. And that's how these books are made, with this brand new application called iBooks Author. And iBooks Author is a Mac application, and it's the place where you go to do everything you've just seen. It's easy to use, it's powerful, it's feature-rich, and authors are going to love to use iBooks Author to create not only textbooks, but any kind of book. Cookbook, travel books, storybooks. You can create any kind of interactive book with iBooks Author. But we focus most of all to making it an amazing textbook authoring experience. I'd like to ask Roger to come on back up and give you a demonstration of the new iBooks Author.
You know, traditionally creating interactive electronic books has been really hard. And we think we've changed all that today with iBooks Author. Let's take a look. I'm going to click on the iBooks Author icon. The first thing I see is our template chooser. iBooks Author comes with some beautiful Apple-designed templates that serve as great starting points for creating your own books. I'm just going to click on one, create a new document. And this window is where you actually build your entire book. At the top is our toolbar and format bar. And that should be completely familiar to anyone who's ever used an iWork app like Pages or Keynote or Numbers. On the left side, we have the content of the book. Up above, there's special objects like the book cover and the glossary. And down below are the pages of the actual book. So let's pretend I'm a publisher, and let's build a book here. I have some of the media and assets from that book I showed you earlier, so let's just do it. I'm going to open up a Finder window so I can get to that stuff. I'll click on the cover of the book, and I'll just drag a cover image right into the image placeholder. There it is. Let's give the book a title. This is what's going to appear on the bookshelf in iBooks 2. And let's say we want to have an intro movie. So I'll click on the intro media placeholder, and I'll just drag a movie right in. I can preview it in place if I want to. And I'm pretty much done defining the basic front matter of our book here. So let's work on the actual pages. Click on the first page. I can drag an image into this placeholder. And now if I wanted to, I could actually start writing my book right here, just typing it. But we know a lot of people have great content already created in Word files and Pages files, so we wanted to make it really easy to use those. So I'll just delete the pages we gave you, and I will drag a Word file in from the Finder, drop it here. iBooks author wants to know how to format it. And now it scans through the file, looks at the styles, and uses them to automatically create sections and headers, and basically lays out the pages of our book. All right, so how about adding some media? Well, let's start simple. We'll drag an image in here. And as I drag it around, you see text flows around it, and I get alignment guides so I can position it dead accurately. Super simple. All right, so how about some cool interactive stuff? Well, up here in the toolbar, we have a widgets button. And when I click on it, we show a gallery of all the interactive objects that iBooks author understands. So I'm going to click on the image gallery. And then I'm going to drag a selection of images in from the Finder, drop them on there. I think I'll move this over, use my alignment guides to get it just where I want it. And I think I'll make it a little bit taller, so I'll just resize it. And I'm done. I have created an interactive image gallery. I can even go through it right here. And needless to say, everything you do in iBooks author is completely what you see is what you get. It's going to look exactly the same on your iPad. All right, so what if I have, say, a 3D model that I want to use? Well, I'll just drag one in from the Finder. There you go. 3D model added to the book. All right, so what if I want to do something custom, have some kind of unique interactive experience? Well, we built Keynote, the presentation app. So we thought, wouldn't it be really cool if we combined Keynote and iBooks too, so you can create interactive experiences without doing any programming? In fact, a number of those interactives that we saw in the book that I showed you earlier were actually Keynote decks. So I have a Keynote document right here. I'll just drag it out of the Finder, drop it right in, and iBooks author and Keynote reprocess it, compress it, and there it is. Now, what if you want to do something even more custom than that? Some kind of super sophisticated interactive object that, say, has, uses the internet to get to a database, or it has a mathematical model at the heart of it. Well, we wanted to make that really easy too. And if you can write code in JavaScript and HTML, basically you can create your own completely custom interactive widgets. We actually use the same developer tools that were created for Mac OS X for creating OS X widgets. So I have one of those widgets right here. It's a dash code widget. I'll just drag it in, drop it on the page, resize it, and there you go, a completely custom interactive widget. All right, so how about that really cool glossary that we saw earlier? Well, iBooks author has the world's best glossary creation tool in it. I'll just turn on the glossary toolbar here. And now whenever I select a term, like nucleosome here, it appears in the new glossary term field. I'll click Add Term. It's in the glossary. Choose another one here. Click Add Term. And now let's say I want to define them now. I'll just click on the button that takes us to the glossary view, and here they are. And now I can just type a definition in, drag an image in, lay it out however I want, and there you go. It's really easy to make sophisticated multimedia glossaries. All right, how about that nifty text-focused portrait view we looked at earlier? Well, believe it or not, those are actually created for you completely automatically. I'll click up here to see a preview of it, and there it is, it's done. If you've ever been involved in any kind of ebook creation project before, you know that this is a total miracle in terms of time savings. All right, so let's say I'm done with this book, and I want to just go ahead and publish it to the iBook store. Well, we've made that really easy, too. We have a Publish button right here. I can click it, and it starts me down the path of publishing it to the iBook store. Great. But what if I want to see it on my iPad first? Well, we have a really nice preview feature, and there's a button right here. and I'll just push it. And if I have an iPad connected to my Mac, we're actually going to build the book for you in real time, put all the media in it, all those interactive objects, compress it, send it across the wire, and there you go. We have our book on the iPad. Here's a 3D model we put in there. Here's our Keynote interactive. And here's our totally custom HTML interactive. And I just think that's totally awesome, right? I mean, in like 5 minutes flat, we created an interactive electronic book and deployed it onto the iPad. I just think that that's going to open up a whole new world of possibility for people who want to publish their ideas. And I hope you find it as inspiring and as empowering as I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. So now you've seen, really anyone can create stunning interactive books, from books for education and learning with textbooks to any kind of books, from cookbooks to travel books, whatever you can imagine. You can start simply with beautiful, customizable templates. Without any programming at all, you can create multi-touch widgets and interactive experiences. And if you're a more advanced developer, you can extend that experience with JavaScript and HTML5. And starting right from within the application, you begin the process of publishing it to the bookstore. So that's iBooks Author. It is the most advanced, most powerful, and yet most fun interactive authoring tool ever created. Now, if you know anything about authoring tools, you know that they often cost hundreds to thousands of dollars. We wanted to make sure that we could get this into the hands of not only every publisher and every author, but even every teacher who ever wanted to simply make a lesson plan to share with their children. So I'm really happy to be the first to tell you that the new iBooks Author will be available for free. And it's available today on the Mac App Store, and you can download it and get started. So now you've seen these beautiful books. You've seen how fun it is to use them. You probably want to get started making one of your own. And you want to figure out where to explore to find examples of all these great books as they're starting to be created. As Roger showed you, we're launching a brand new category in the iBook store for textbooks. Now again, you're going to find these interactive iBooks all throughout the store. But we think there should be an area especially dedicated for textbooks because this category is so important to us and so important to education. You're going to see textbooks about every subject for every grade level and every student. But we wanted to get started early before we launched this on an area where we thought we could have the most immediate impact, and it was so important to get started with some partners, and that's high school textbooks. I think that's a critical area to start to create these exciting new tools. So you're going to see new high school textbooks beginning, and they're priced at $14.99 or less, which is very aggressive. Of course, the authors can make these books and then keep them up to date even after the student gets them. But I think one of the most profound things will be a change for the student, which is it's their book. Once they've downloaded it, it's their book. It's not something they have to give back to the school, and there's a problem if they ever wrote a note in it or highlighted it. It's theirs. Even if they get a new device later, they can redownload the books at any time. And it's really easy to get them, as Roger showed you. You can one-click purchase. Whether the students purchase them or the school has given them a redemption code, it's so easy to get them. And you know, this whole process of making a bookstore, making an authoring tool, well, we're new at this, and we've turned to a lot of partners to help us figure out how to make this truly great. And we have had some phenomenal companies, education learning companies, really work with us and give us advice and help us along the way. I'd like to tell you about a couple of those. First, we've been working with Pearson, McGraw-Hill, and Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Together, these three learning companies are responsible for over 90% of the textbooks sold in the US and more worldwide. These are amazing learning companies, and they have been great partners with us, helping us to make the store the best it can be. Let me give you a couple examples of what they're doing. Pearson, I'm sure you know of Pearson. They're an amazing education learning company with many solutions, and they've been hard at work at some stellar products. They've been working on Algebra 1, biology, environmental science, geometry. These 4 textbooks alone are used by more than 4 million high school students. It's just remarkable what they've been doing. 2 of them, biology and environmental science, will be available starting today. Algebra 1 and geometry very, very shortly thereafter. And these are stunning books. They take full advantage of what can be created with iBooks Author. So this amazing company has been a big help to us, and they're part of this launch. I'll give you another example, McGraw-Hill. McGraw-Hill is an incredible company, not far right from here. And this learning company has been hard at work at a whole line of high school textbooks, Algebra 1, biology, chemistry, geometry, and physics. These 5 books are used by over 3 million students. Incredible breadth. All 5 of these books available starting today in the textbook section of the iBooks store. And they're incredible. Beautiful, interactive books that students are going to love learning with. I can't overemphasize what importance there is in these partners working with us and helping us to create the best textbook store that's ever been launched. Now, it's not just about the traditional textbooks, and it's not just about high school. Let me give you one other example. I've been working with DK Publishing. If you know DK Publishing, they create some amazing learning tools for students through all different grade levels. And they've been hard at work at a line of books, and 4 of them are launching today. Dinosaurs and Prehistoric Life, Natural History of Insects, Natural History of Mammals, and My First ABC. Yes. You can imagine the fun the kids are going to have exploring and learning with these books. This is an example of the insects book. And the layout is stunning and gorgeous and engaging. Just wait till you see them. They're amazing. So that's DK Publishing. I have one other company that we've been working with early in this process that I'd love to tell you about. And that's the E.O. Wilson Biodiversity Foundation. Now, if you don't know E.O. Wilson, you should. You should. Perhaps the preeminent biologist of our time, won more awards than I can count, but most importantly, an amazing educator. Amazing educator. And he and his team have launched a project, an ambitious project, to reinvent the biology textbook. They call it Life on Earth. And you've seen with Roger's demo some of that content. He used some of that in what we've seen already today. It's an amazing project. And more amazing, it's coming exclusively to iBooks in these new interactive textbooks. The first 2 chapters are complete and available starting today for free for downloading from the iBooks store. And as they create the additional chapters, they will be made available on the iBooks store at a very aggressive price. So that's the textbook store. And it's where you're going to find all these new interactive iBooks textbooks. And of course, you'll find iBooks throughout the store and many other subjects. And we're so excited about this effort to reinvent the textbook. iBooks 2, iBooks Author, the new textbook store. Well, we couldn't help ourselves, and we made a video. So I'd like to play that for you now, and I hope you enjoy it.
I teach because when you learn, you become a better person, always.
I get to see young minds blossom, grow, develop.
The ability to engage a student is the key to being a good teacher.
Using outdated materials such as textbooks makes that job much more difficult.
In textbooks, there's diagrams, but they're static. Something like a cell membrane is a fluid thing. It's always moving.
With U.S. history, they print a textbook and it's outdated almost the second that it's printed.
Textbooks are very expensive. They're usually $60 to $100 for different textbooks. So They're adopted for 5 years, and then you're stuck with them.
They're extremely heavy, and if you have 3 or 4 in a backpack, you know, it's a lot of weight, and so some students will simply just quit bringing textbooks to class.
There is no reason today to assume that kids have to use the same tools that they used in 1950. In fact, to do so is to prepare them for a world that's already passed.
Education has always been a big part of Apple's DNA. And that's because we really believe that technology can make a profound difference in the way that teachers teach and kids learn. And we now have the opportunity to change one of the cornerstones of education, the textbook. With the iPad, we're making textbooks so much more engaging. By adding audio, video, and interactivity, the content comes to life in ways that are just not possible on the printed page. The information is always up to date, and instead of carrying 30 pounds of books in a backpack, you just need one iPad. These new textbooks are going to allow students to do things they could never do before.
When we set out to bring textbooks to iPad, there were really 3 areas we focused on. We wanted to have really fast, fluid navigation. We wanted to have beautiful graphics. And we wanted to create a better, easier way to take notes and use those notes. When you integrate photography, video, audio, interactive objects, and Keynote animations right into the page, the material becomes so much more immersive and compelling. And you can do things you just can't do with a static paper textbook. Taking notes is one of the key ways students learn. So we're introducing some amazing new ways to take notes on iPad. When you see something you're interested in, you just swipe over it and it's highlighted. When you want to add a note, you just tap on it and type. And when you're ready to use your notes, you have an elegant study card view. It's all automatically organized for you, so you just don't have to think about it.
Up to now, making interactive books for iPad has been difficult, so we wanted to make it easier. And this meant so much to us, we had to invent a way to do it. So we developed iBooks Author, an incredible new publishing tool for the Mac. It has Apple-designed templates that allow anyone to create a beautiful multi-touch book for the iPad. And we wanted to get it into the hands of as many people as possible, so we're making it available for free. We also launched the new textbook section of the iBook store, and this will let publishers easily distribute the most up-to-date version of their textbook right to students. And students can open and read these textbooks right in the iBooks app. So now there's an easy way to create these books, an easy way to buy them, and an incredibly engaging way to experience them. And we're really excited because we think this is going to help students, teachers, and publishers.
Digitization of education is going to be the opportunity of the century. The textbook on the iPad is so much bigger, broader, and more dynamic because what it does is it brings the curriculum alive.
Now we are to the point where we need to have more 21st century materials. We need to engage children. We need to live in the world they live in. And Apple will be essential to that.
When you start talking about what the benefits of Apple and an educational company are, the power of that partnership is huge. It allows more people in more places to benefit from the capabilities that this will have.
Apple is a company that has a genius for engaging people. You can do things with a digital textbook that you never could before. It will make students much more interested, and if it stimulates curiosity, you've got the spark for learning.
The Los Angeles Unified School District is the place that I have the privilege to work. I have a little over 1,000 schools and campuses, and I serve more than 750,000 youth, pre-K through 12. It's an amazing school district, and it has amazing stories of success and unbelievable stories of challenge. We had decided to adopt iPad technology as we were trying to provide ways for increasing student engagement. With these interactive textbooks, we're going to watch huge leaps in what's possible for students. They're phenomenally going to change the landscape of education. I think it will reignite the whole passion about why we came into teaching to begin with.
I have become a better person while I've taught. You can't help it. You become attached to your students.
Answer all of these questions as you read.
There are some students that no matter what you do, you just cannot reach them, and it's a very, very sad feeling.
And as I add things to that,
But whenever I see a student make a connection or have a realization of comprehension and the light bulb just clicks on, you know, I want to stand up and cheer. I think with the interactive textbooks on the iPad, that connection will be occurring on a regular basis. It will definitely change my students' lives for the better. It will create opportunities for them to learn in ways they've never been able to learn before. They're going to want to go to school. They're going to want to learn. Learning opens eyes, it opens minds, and it opens windows into places that you've never dreamed of before. And there's nothing else I can think of that's near as rewarding.
So that is reinventing the textbook. That's the first thing we wanted to tell you about today. And for the second, I'm really pleased to invite up Eddie Q, our Senior Vice President for Internet Software and Services. Eddie?
Thanks, Phil. So I want to tell you about the second thing we're doing for education today. And that is, we're going to help teachers reinvent the curriculum. And to do that, I'd like to talk about iTunes U. Now, iTunes U lets colleges and universities around the world deliver their audio and video lectures, guest speakers, and other educational content to anyone using iTunes, an iPhone, an iPod Touch, or an iPad. As a matter of fact, over 1,000 universities and colleges around the world are already using iTunes U to deliver content to their students or to anyone with an appetite to learn. And these colleges and universities are distributing over 500,000 pieces of audio and video material, making iTunes U the world's largest catalog of free educational content. And we've already had over 700 million downloads from iTunes U, which we launched just 4 years ago. Now, iTunes U has been used primarily to deliver lectures. Let's take a look at an MIT class for physics.
The slightest push, and this will be my last lecture. I'm going to close my eyes. I don't want to see it. And I'm going to count down from 3 to 0. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Now that's great. I certainly don't remember my physics professor doing that in class. But we want to let teachers do a lot more. We want to let them create full online courses, not just audio and video, but everything you need to take a class. The syllabus, all of the assignments, the reading material, and the lectures, all on iTunes U and all for free. And so today, we're announcing an all-new iTunes U. And it comes with a dedicated app that lets teachers and students do everything they need right on their iPad. And the best way to tell you about it is just to show you. So I'd like to invite Jeff Robin, our Vice President of iTunes, to come up and give you a demo.
Thanks, Eddie. Okay, let's take a look at the new iTunes U app. So if you've ever used iBooks, iTunes U is going to feel very familiar. As you can see, it has a beautiful mahogany bookshelf with all of your courses neatly collected into one place. You can also look at them in list view for more information. Now, as Eddie mentioned, we're introducing new complete online courses. Let's take a look at this one from Duke University. This is a real course from Duke that's being taught today. Now, all the new courses start out with these topics on the left. Overview, this course is on core concepts in chemistry. Comes with a description of the course. Instructor, which tells you about the teacher. And outline, which gives you a complete syllabus. And teachers can even customize these topics and give you things like office hours. Now, down the right-hand side, you'll see 4 tabs: Info, Posts, Notes, and Materials. Let's look at Posts. This is where teachers can post messages to all of the students in the class, including their assignments. And as new messages are posted and new assignments are given, you'll automatically receive a notification. Let's take a look at my next assignment. This is to read a chapter, and as I tap on it, it opens up and shows me the book. And just tapping on it switches me over to iBooks and opens me right to that spot in the book. Now, this is a lesson that was created with iBooks Author. It works just like those textbooks that you saw Roger demonstrate earlier, and I can just swipe through them. And if I see something that's important to remember, I'm just going to select it and highlight it. And when I'm done, just switch back to iTunes U, and I can mark that assignment complete. It's really easy. So let's take a look at my next assignment. This one's to watch a video. With the new iTunes U app, you can either download these videos to the iPad, or I can just tap to stream them.
So we're going to work through an example that's kind of fun because it allows us to calculate the pH of a raindrop in the absence of acid rain. If you're an environmental chemist and you want to understand the impacts of acid rain, you need to understand what the pH of an ordinary raindrop is first. So the example we're going to look at.
And when I'm done watching that video, just tap back, and again, I can mark it complete. So it's really easy to get all my assignments from my teacher. So let's take a look at notes. iTunes U will gather all of the notes for your books and from your courses into one place. And you can see that that section that I highlighted in the chemistry lesson is up there at the top. And I can even tap on that and add my own notes to the highlighting. And if I want to see what all the materials are in this course, tap Materials, and they're all collected into one spot. These new courses can contain audio, video, books, documents including PDFs, pages, and Keynote documents, and even apps. And for the materials I don't have, the apps I need to get, I can buy them right here and get them from the App Store, the iBooks Store, or the iTunes Store. So where do these courses come from? Well, from the bookshelf in the upper left, there's a catalog button. Just tap it and the bookshelf flips over. And you can see the iTunes U catalog with all the great iTunes U courses that we're featuring. Here's that Duke course for chemistry. And you can see we've got a complete description of the course. You can check out the course outline. And you can even see how other students have rated the course. And when you're ready to take it, just tap the subscribe button. And that is the all-new iTunes U app. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. That's great. So iTunes U, it lets you create full online courses with audio, video, documents, apps from the App Store, and books, including those great new textbooks you can create using iBooks Author. You can easily share the syllabus and all of the assignments. Teachers can create new posts and announcements, and it's integrated with iBooks so all of your notes live in a single place. and that's iTunes U. Now, as I said, universities and colleges around the world are already using iTunes U. Places like UCLA, Stanford, Arizona State, Texas A&M, internationally, University of Paris, University of Tokyo, Ludwig, all over. It's great. Regional colleges like Harrisburg Area Community College. Now, 6 of these universities have had access to the new iTunes U, and they've created over 100 full online courses. Everything you need to take the course, all on iTunes U. The assignments, the syllabus, the reading materials, the lectures, all of it on iTunes U, and all of it for free. Now, iTunes U has been primarily used by higher education institutions. Even though we've had content from libraries, from museums, and state departments of education, iTunes U has not been available for K-12 schools. Well, I'm really happy to announce that starting today, K-12 schools can sign up. And this means that teachers in these schools, just like universities around the world, will now be able to deliver full online courses to their students and to anyone for free. So, iTunes U, it's available for free, and it's available today. All on the App Store in over 123 countries. So go download iTunes U. Thank you. And I'd like to turn it back to Phil.
Thank you, Eddie. Well, you've heard us say that Apple exists at the intersection between liberal arts and technology. I think never is that more evident than in our love of education. This has been instilled in Apple from the very beginning, and is true today as it ever has been before. If you talk to teachers about things Apple has done through the years, they'll speak really fondly of some amazing programs. For example, Kids Can't Wait. It was the first program to try to bring computers into the classroom. The Apple Classroom of Tomorrow. This was a decade-long study done in partnership with educators on how to integrate technology into the curriculum. By the way, the result of that study was that it's all about student achievement and engaging and exciting students to want to learn. And even Wheels for the Mind. It's really the first attempt to help distribute content about how to use technology in a curriculum to educators in the US and around the world. And we hope that educators are going to look back on today's announcements just as fondly and even see that they were more profound in their impact on education. iBooks, reinventing the textbook. iBooks Author, a free Mac application to make it simple to create interactive books. And iTunes U, enabling anyone, anywhere, at any time to take courses for free with everything they need built in. We're really proud of what the teams have done and how hard they've worked to deliver these products today. Roger's team, Jeff's team, and everyone else at Apple that has worked so hard on this. And they do it because all of us at Apple know that you really can empower people through learning. And technology has a role to play to help in doing that. And it's one of the best things that's built into the culture at Apple, to care about learning and to want to do our bit to help improve that process. So thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you're as excited about these announcements as we are. And when we're done, I hope you can join us upstairs in the second floor gallery, where we have products there for you to try out these new books and the authoring tool for yourself and see why we're so excited. Thank you.